Welcome into another edition of the Braves Central podcast. Barrett Salee and Chris Domino bringing you all things Atlanta Braves. Don't forget to like, share, all that stuff. We know you like podcasts, so please share this one with your friends and family. Braves dropped 2 out of 3 to the Yankees. It does feel like maybe it should have been a series win, especially after what happened in game 2, but they couldn't get it done. It was sort of the same old story, Chris. And now we're left asking, okay, what hope is there? If there was a glimmer of hope left, where is it?
Well, I mean, we can go back to the doctor's credo. This was a weekend where you had to do no harm, and you did harm. I think a scalpel might have actually been left in the patient. So it's this is not the way it needed to go. I don't want to say could have gone, should have gone. It's not the way it needed to go. And you find yourself now with another series loss. And more importantly, you know, at the end of the day, the things that have plagued you continue to plague you, but it might be in doses and spurts. And that's enough. You know, I tell everybody all the time, you don't have to be the best team for 9 innings. You don't. You just have to win moments, not lose moments. And they lost a bunch of moments on Saturday night after actually looking like they were going to be 2-0 in the series. Yesterday, it turns into sort of that whole hum, it's really hot out type day, and not much going on offensively. Nothing, you know, nothing criminal. Just losing a baseball game on a Sunday afternoon, and that's what you couldn't do. So you lose the series, and if at the end of the day you're asking to do some more of the math, it's not good. And it doesn't matter who you're playing anymore. Like, I'm not even a believer in that, where, if you play the team right in front of you, there's a chance you could. Well, there's a chance you could what? How many series have they swept this year? Because that was the position they were in. It was not winning series. It was sweeping series. They had an opportunity to go 2-0 on Saturday to go into Sunday with at least a little bit of wiggle room if you did lose, but more importantly, a chance to sweep the series. Because of the way Saturday night went, it didn't happen that way, and yesterday was just sort of the kick in the ass as they were leaving the building.
There was a quote when Snit was asked about this, and I think it was very telling, his answer. He was asked about Sean Murphy and Drake Baldwin, both in the lineup as designated hitter catcher flip-flop. We saw that Saturday and on Friday. Sunday, Marcell got the start. Snit was asked about that, and his response, I think, was very telling. He said, if he's going to be here, he's going to play every now and then. But Snit also went on to say that, hey, he's going to play, go with the hot bats. And right now, in a perfect world, he'd go with Sean and Drake every game, and then only drop Marcell in when there's a specific matchup he likes. That's pretty telling in my mind about where the organization stands and where Snit stands in terms of the catcher designated hitter sort of conundrum. So it does lead the question, okay, what happens with Marcell moving forward?
So I will equate this to looking at a painting. It's a house and a tree. What is it, a house and a tree? I was an English minor. We'd read something, a poem. Well, it seems to be about a tank in the war, but it's not really about a tank in the war. It's about this. I think he just said what we're all looking at the painting going, wait, I see those 2 guys playing. There's 2 guys on a baseball field, and none of them are Marcell Ozuna. You know, Sean Murphy, and it's Drake Baldwin. So then he just said what we, I guess, maybe needed to hear, but didn't really, because I'm looking at it. I'm looking at a lineup. You know, let's consider a lineup a piece of art. Well, if I see 2 things on there, I don't need to, or I don't want to, have to extrapolate deeper meaning. He's going with the guys who are better offensively than Marcell Ozuna is. Now, I would also argue, then why'd you play Marcell Ozuna yesterday? Because it's done. Yeah. The showcase thing is done. He is what he is at this point. If you were trying to catch a 3-for-4 day and show somebody, look, he can still do this, that's not the reason GMs make moves that don't make moves. If a general manager is going to make a move based upon a 3-for-4 day from somebody, I probably got the wrong guy in the office at that point. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to fool anybody, bamboozle anybody. Is it a matter of, oh, look, he can stand, he can hold a bat, he can, try to attempt to hit a baseball? Sure, he's not blind. He doesn't have a broken leg. He doesn't have any of those things. He's just not very good right now. Now, the problem is, I think there's a chance Drake Baldwin gets a little bit more exposed, which I don't mind, big picture. But I think the idea that if you're going to play the last 2 months of the season not being in the playoffs, I want Drake Baldwin to see as many different types of pitchers, as many different pitches as he can see, because I just want him having that. I'd like him to catch more games. If there's going to be a guy or 2 coming out of the bullpen that is new here, I'd like him to catch those guys as well. There's another part of this, not just is Marcell Ozuna a good enough hitter to be here or not. They are trying to trade him, obviously. I don't know what you're going to get from him. I have no idea what the graph of the chart says you get for sort of an aging, soon-to-be free agent. Not sure his hip is good, probably a little bit overweight. We've seen the best we're maybe ever going to see out of him. He can still hit me a home run. He could still win me a game. What's the value of that? I have no idea in today's baseball, so I'm not trying to suppose that I do. I just know that it doesn't really make much sense to have him around.
It doesn't. And I think the quote that Snit had, if he's going to be here, is very telling.
Well, the other part is
that he's
a 10-5 guy. And
he's
let's
a 10-5. Exactly.
Let's find out if that's, what is his attitude going to be? I don't think anybody wants to kick him to the curb. I think everybody around here has thanked him for being as good as he was at the job. My thing is, does he say as a 10-5 guy, no, I don't want to go there for whatever reason? I'd like to think he'd like to go someplace with a chance for a team that's going to make the playoffs, and maybe he can be a part of that. But is there a destination or two? I watch Fred McGriff and other guys pull a 10-5 card and go, I'm not going there. So if he does that, do you keep him on a 26-man roster, or do you just say, okay, thank you, I'm going to pay you anyway, I'm just going to release you at that point? I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll find out what the politics of this is going to be on top of the baseball of it.
Yeah. I mean, we saw him Saturday in the clubhouse, and he was just normal, jovial self. So
yeah.
I don't know.
He's not a bad guy.
I don't know if that. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy. There's no doubt about it. So, we'll see what happens with that moving forward. I think for the Braves, Nacho Alvarez coming up has been interesting because from a defensive perspective, that line drive he caught in game 2, which honestly I thought was going to lead to extra innings. And obviously that changed one batter later with the grand slam. But Nacho Alvarez has been phenomenal at third base. There hasn't been really a drop off there defensively from Austin Riley. He's starting to hit better. To me, he's shown that he is ready to be here. He is a major leaguer right now. They have to figure out where they want to put him. And it's not going to be third base, and it might be second base, though. So if the Braves do concede the election, right, if they say, okay, well, you guys, you've taken care of it, we're going to take a step back, and moving forward, we'll figure out what we do in 2026 and beyond. There's no doubt right now that Nacho has proven that he is in those plans, and it really does make things interesting with Ozzie Albies, especially now that Ozzie has kind of heated up a little bit. And Ozzie said that he fixed his swing essentially in Sacramento. And it's true. I mean, you look back at Sacramento and he's definitely looked like a different player. But now it does sort of present that, I wouldn't say issue. It's kind of a luxury, honestly. What do you have with Nacho at second base? Do you need to pick up that option on Ozzie? Or the behind door number 3 is, do you start listening a little bit more seriously to some other offers regarding Ozzie or regarding anybody else?
Well, that might be an off-season thing. I'm not selling Ozzie low right now. He had a couple of good games. I for $7 million, I would like to control what I'd like to do with him, whether that means he plays second base for me or he doesn't. Me, I am all for moving guys around if you're an athlete, but I'm not, this idea that, well, Nacho Alvarez has to be on the field. No, he doesn't. Let's not go crazy and talk about him being a player that he's not proven to be. He's certainly not a left fielder. He's certainly not a third baseman when it comes to lack of power numbers. There are places you're supposed to get home runs. I can live with Nick Allen not hitting a ton. I can live with Ozzie not hitting a ton of home runs or what he used to do, as long as I have enough offense around me. Is he a second baseman? Probably. Do you want to try to make him a shortstop and then lose what maybe you have with Nick Allen, but I get maybe a little bit more of a bat? Sure. Nacho Alvarez has got to prove, and this is the other thing that's going to happen. If Ozzie is here, are you going to play him at second a couple of times a week? If it's over, are you going to try him at shortstop to see what he looks like at shortstop? Or is that going to be something you just go, well, he can't really do? I don't know. I'm telling you what I've been told. He's not necessarily defensively an everyday shortstop. He's not a third baseman because he's not going to hit home runs. Can't have him there. I can play him at second base. Can't move him to left field. Me, if he's an athlete, go put him in left field. But that's not a left field bat. So I don't know what you do with him. Does he become, because he plays somewhat over the next couple of months, is he a guy that becomes more of a prospect guy to trade because people have seen him? Maybe that's the thing that nobody's talking about. I don't know. I'm not all for running this back. I'm not. And if Michael Harris is a trade chip in the offseason, that would be interesting. Do you buy a third baseman? And again, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Do you move Austin Riley to left? Is Profar possibly a center fielder? I don't know what it's going to be. I just know that at the end of the day, the end of the season, this is not going to be satisfying in any measure, and you're going to have questions. And the thing that we thought we were going to avoid didn't mean that you were going to be a 95-win team and you were guaranteed to go to the postseason. This is worse than we thought it was going to be. But I'm going to tell you, there are going to be more questions about the Atlanta Braves at the end of this year than we thought there were going to be. And that's why I'd like to have a few or less questions. Is Baldwin and Murphy really a good enough combination to be a catcher DH for the entirety of next year? I keep saying it, and I'll say it again. God forbid one of them gets hurt. You don't have another DH in this lineup as constructed. You don't have a guy that I would put in there to play, to hit for 2 months. There ain't nobody around. Nobody. Like, there's nobody that you would say, like to me, your DH doesn't have to necessarily be just a home run guy, but he has to be a guy who affects and changes a baseball game. They got nobody sitting on the bench, and for what I understand, nobody down in the minor leagues offensively that is that.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, though, moving forward. Well, big 3-game set with the Giants. Braves need to get a sweep just to stay in it. We said on the show the magic number is 6. 6 games back at the trade deadline. That's not where they are right now. They lost a game yesterday. They're now 10.5 back. So, I think at this point, you're kind of hoping on miracles. You're kind of praying a little bit. So we'll see if the Braves can get 3 from the Giants and at least go on a road trip with at least a modicum of hope. He's Chris Domino. I'm Barrett Sallee. This has been Brave Central. Don't forget to share it. We'll talk to you across the Braves Radio Network all week. So keep it tuned to us. Hopefully, let's get a sweep. Let's get a sweep of the Giants.